You know, everything goes back to our thoughts. Everything. Everything. It really can be easy. It starts with having thoughts that line up with truth that feels good.
Hello, and welcome to Wendy Dillard's live Law of Attraction coaching program. And I'm your host, Wendy Dillard. Hope you're doing well tonight. I am very excited about what I'm going to bring to you. But first of all, let me tell you that the purpose of this show is to share with you different aspects of law of attraction that will help you manifest the desires of your dreams. Now, there are a lot of people talking about law of attraction these days, and I've heard some that have what I'll just say they really botched the essence of it. They had the general idea, but they didn't share information that would really help you use it in a productive way. And I've heard others talk about it that to me is right on. So what I like to do is I like to bust any myths and bring truth to how the law of attraction works. I start every show with about 10 to 15 minutes of some topic that I think is relevant to law of attraction, and it's something that will help you in your quest to, again, manifest the desires of your heart. Now, I'm going to start with a little bit of business. I am a law of attraction coach, and so I coach people and help them to apply the principles in a way that helps them manifest their desires. I will say, let's see, here it is. If you have interest in talking with me privately or possibly coaching with me, feel free to go to my website, which is wendydillard.com, as you can see scrolling up the bottom of this screen, and click on the banner that says book a free exploratory conversation. That banner is located on the bottom of every one of my web pages because it's in the footer. So again, if you want to work with me, go to wendydillard.com. Okay, so let's get started. I'm excited about this subject because it's one that has touched my life. And so I've been diving into it deeper because it's something that is touching my life. So the subject is momentum. So I think we can all understand from a physics perspective how momentum works when you think of, let's say, it's snowing outside and you want to make a snowball. If you're at the top of a hill and you push the snowball down, as it goes downhill, it will gather more snow and it'll get bigger and bigger and it'll begin to move faster and faster and faster. And if somebody was in the middle of the hill and they tried to stop it, depending on how big it got, they might get rolled over by the snowball. So I wouldn't suggest trying to stop the momentum when it's going really fast. Now, on the other hand, well, no, I'm not going to talk about that. So in law of attraction terms, every subject or every desire we have that we want to manifest builds momentum. It doesn't require a whole lot of anything except that's just what it does. And so, as I've said before, law of attraction picks up on what your desires are based on what you vibrate to. And your vibration is a mixture of both conscious and unconscious thoughts, because every thought creates an emotion and every emotion equals your vibrational countenance. So if, let's say, you want a new car and you don't know how you're going to pay for it, but you're just trusting that the universe is going to provide the funds, if every time you think about it, you're like, I don't know how that's going to happen. I've been needing a new car for a long time. My car right now is just in shambles. It needs to go to the mechanic, it seems, every other week. If those are the kinds of thoughts you're thinking, that we would call that negative thinking, because it's not thinking about what you want, it's thinking about what you don't want. And you're actually creating momentum towards what you don't want, even though, as a side note, you're thinking, I really want a new car, I really need a new car. But on the flip side, if you are saying, I want a new car, I know the universe has my back, I'm not quite sure how the funds are going to be manifest, but I know it's going to happen. Every time I want something, the funds just always magically appear. So let me explain what the physics of momentum is behind that. So I like to think of it in terms of a car. And like when I was younger, my dad taught me how to drive two-footed, which meant I put my right foot on the accelerator and my left foot on the brake. Now that I live in Texas, I just one foot drive. But I like to think of it in terms of 2 feet driving because it suits my metaphor better. So whenever you're thinking of something that you really desire, it's like putting your right foot down on the accelerator. But if you have any doubts or worries or concerns that something's going to get in the way so you won't be able to manifest it, that's like putting your left foot on the brake. And if you think about if you have your right foot on the accelerator and your left foot on the brake, well, what's going to happen? Well, it may move forward a little bit, but there's going to be a lot of drag on it. It's not going to move forward slowly because it's like you have your foot on the brake. It's also like driving with your parking brake on. It doesn't allow you to move forward easily or smoothly. So I like to think of our thoughts as we're either accelerating or braking. Sometimes we're doing both. Sometimes we're accelerating and braking at the same time, which, like I said, creates a lot of drag on the system, and moving forward doesn't happen so easily. And if your foot is more heavily on the brake, chances are you're barely moving forward. But if your foot is heavily on the accelerator and just a little bit on the brake, then you are moving forward. So I think with the accelerator and brake scenario, you can imagine what happens in terms of our vibration and what we're putting out into the universe. And so I have a client that we were talking about this last week, and he was doing really good, focusing really powerfully on what he desired. And when he did that, there were so many opportunities that were coming into experience and in his experience, and I was really excited for him. And then our next session, I noticed almost everything he talked about had a negative vibration. It had a negative connotation. He was saying, yeah, this opportunity fell apart and I don't see where this is going to happen. And we really need X amount of dollars generated. And if not, I'm going to have to borrow money to pay our bills. And he just was going downhill. And so that's when I came up with this car metaphor to explain to him what he was doing. I said, every thought you think or speak out loud is actually a part of your vibrational countenance. And it's giving instructions, if you will, to the law of attraction as to what to bring to you and what to magnetize to you. And I said, a couple weeks ago, that session produced all these wonderful thoughts, and it produced all these wonderful happenings where you were getting great opportunities and you were feeling really optimistic, and everything inside of you felt really good because you were telling the law of attraction, I want more of what I'm feeling now. And law of attraction was giving him more, and he was getting more opportunities, and his thinking was really good, and it was making him feel really good. But then what is very typical for a lot of people is they don't maintain that level of feel good. And he started to slide back into kind of some old patterns. And when he didn't see everything doing what he wanted, he started feeling doubtful and dubious that those things were going to even happen at all. And he was saying, oh my God, I'm going to have to borrow money and I'm going to go further into debt. And this is just like, ah. And so what I shared with him is I said, a couple weeks ago, you were like full throttle. You were like all accelerator, and things were moving well, and law of attraction was bringing you evidence of how you were vibrating because you were feeling really good. But then when you didn't get exactly what you were expecting, all of a sudden you started focusing on what wasn't going well, what wasn't going your way. And it was like putting your foot on the brake. And you were like saying to law of attraction, stop, don't bring what I want to me anymore, because I'm vibrating to something I don't want. And so now law of attraction is like, oh, okay, I guess he doesn't really want those things after all. So we'll bring him more experiences so he can feel bad. And this is how law of attraction works. And this is momentum, period. And so I said this, it was touching me personally. And so I started really focusing on, how do you know when momentum is gaining speed toward what you want or gaining speed toward what you don't want? Because just as a side note, you cannot go in two directions at the same time. And in order, if you've been going down a rabbit hole of negative thinking for a long time, if all of a sudden you go, you know what, I'm going to take control of my thoughts and I'm going to really focus on what I desire instead of what I don't desire, that's awesome. However, the momentum you created going the wrong direction has a lot of power, intensity, and speed behind it. And it has to slow down. Now, your positive thinking is actually like putting the brakes on this negative momentum. But it takes a little bit of time before that negative momentum comes to an end. I mean, it's just like if you're driving somewhere and you realize that you passed the exit, you can't just stop in the middle of the highway and turn around. You have to go forward to the next exit and then turn around. And so there's always a time lag when you've had momentum going in the direction that you don't want before it'll start going in the direction of where you do want it to go. So I was personally asking the question, how do you know when things have turned around? Like, I definitely know what it feels like when things are not going my way and I've got negative momentum on something. And I also know because I've been thinking something negatively for a really long time. So it's pretty obvious to me. But in my life, I had something that I'd been thinking negatively for a long time. And now I wanted to shift it around. And I was doing my affirmations, and I was really affirming what I desire. And I was like standing fast on being committed to this thing that I want. But I thought, how do I know when I brought an end to the negative momentum? Because it's not as easy as just taking the next exit and turning around. Because in my car, that's in the material world, I see it, I know it, there's evidence for it, it's factual. But in the law of attraction world of energy and vibration, it's not quite as easy to determine. And so I've been asking the question, how do you know? And what came to me through multiple sources, but also spirit kind of confirmed it, is you'll know by how it feels. And so I asked myself, well, how do I feel about this thing I'm wanting to create? And I got silent and I listened to what was inside, and there was no negative feeling whatsoever. It's like everything in me knew that I was creating what I desired, that it's on its way. And I knew that just because I couldn't see it as of yet did not mean it wasn't showing up, because a lot of times, there's things that are happening in the background, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Like when I bought a house, I knew the house I was going to buy, the mortgage had been approved, but the old people were still living in the house. But it didn't mean that I wasn't buying that house. It just meant that they had time before they were going to move out. There was time it was going to take for the mortgage to be funded and before they would hand me the keys. But while I was waiting, I was excited about it and telling my friends, we bought a new house, we bought a new house. But I didn't have the evidence that I was in the house, but it didn't mean I didn't believe that it was going to go through, and eventually it did. So the same thing with this thing that I was thinking about for me, it's like just because I don't see the evidence of it manifested didn't mean that the momentum was not building and that it wasn't going to happen. And so I can't tell you that it's manifested yet. It's still in the process. But I know for certain that I'm no longer building the momentum against what I want. I'm actually starting to build the momentum toward what I want. And that is evidenced by how I feel. And our feelings are actually the first evidence that we receive before something becomes a 3D manifestation. But not a lot of people recognize that their feelings are very significant in the process of manifesting something. The feelings come before the physical manifestation. So anyway, I hope that helps you understand how momentum works. Momentum is always working on the side of wherever there's the greatest vibrational intensity. And so if you have something that you've desired for a really long time, and every time you talk about it, negative things come out of your mouth, you could pretty much be sure that the 3D manifestation is not happening anytime soon, because you're still adding fuel to the negative side of that momentum. Now, how you know is by how you feel. And so for me, I've developed kind of a new practice, which is every time I think a thought, I ask myself, is this thought building momentum toward what I do want? Or is it building more momentum toward what I don't want? Or another way to say it is, am I putting the accelerator on what I want, or am I putting the brake on what I want? And so I've given you several different ways to think about it. Hopefully one of them resonates with you, maybe all of them, and that will help you in terms of thinking about what you desire. You want to focus on what you desire, and you want to feel what you desire. And you want that feeling. Now, that feeling will automatically generate a vibration, but you want to embody and own the feelings of what makes you tick, what makes you happy. So that's it on that subject. This is where I turn it over to viewers to ask a question. And so if anybody who's watching has a question, they can put the question in the chat box and be as specific as possible. And if for any reason it's not a clear question for me, I'll just ask you to clarify. And hopefully, you'll get the answers to what you desire. The thing that's really cool is that this is free law of attraction coaching. And I would love for you to tell others to join this coaching show, because not only is it more fun when there's people I can engage with and answer their questions, but you're getting free law of attraction coaching. You don't have to pay me on this show. Now, if you want personal private time with me, of course, the first call is a free consultation. But after that, if you want a coaching relationship, obviously there's payment involved. But this show is a way that you can receive free, can I say that again? Free law of attraction coaching. And you can share with me something that you're wanting to manifest. And if it's not manifesting, I'll ask you maybe a couple questions as to, what you might be thinking. And we can clear up really fast what it is that's holding you back. Because what I really desire for you is that you would manifest everything that's of importance to you. So I don't see anybody putting questions in the comment box. or in the chat box, which is sad, but that's okay. This show is simulcast on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And as soon as I end the call or end the stream, the playback is made available on all three of those platforms. And so if you don't catch my show live, hopefully you'll catch a replay. You can come into my Facebook, LinkedIn group, or what's the other one? Oh, YouTube. And on YouTube, you click on live. I have my own channel. Click on live, and it will show you all the different shows that I've done, and just click on them and watch them. And if you only watch the first 15 minutes or so, you're going to get the teaching topics that I share, and hopefully those will help you in your journey so that you can manifest your heart's desire. So that's it for tonight. I appreciate your time, whether it's here and you're not commenting, or in the future and you watch it then. My hope is that I will have added some valuable insight into your life's journey, and I wish you all well. So that's it for tonight. Bye-bye now.